Flat Earth Debate live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. We are joined by Neil, Adam, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, together with Chocolate saying a latecomer. So, welcome one and all.
How are you?
Good morning, everyone.
Pretty good. Pleased to be here. Fresh week, fresh start. All very exciting. Dust definitely has seemed to have settled. He's got their mic wide open. Chocolate immediately ruining the beginning of the live stream, of course. Hello, Chocolate.
Just wanted to say good morning.
Mumble. Very good to have you, I'm sure. So, the dust seems to have settled on the final experiment. Less and less videos coming out, people showing an interest. What has it been? About a month? Has it been a month yet? What was it? The 20th, 21st? When was the solstice? Anybody know? When was TFE? Couldn't be any less warmed up, really.
I thought it was the 21st.
Oh, wasn't it just before Christmas?
Yeah, but what day?
That's how I remember it.
Okay, well, it's about a month, and that's about how long it's lasted. I anticipated 3 to 6 months before the dust settled, so I thought we'd be inundated with this crap. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still people out there who've waited as videographers for the seeming initial dust to settle before they've released their videos. So I saw Eli made a comment saying, Professor Dave Explains YouTube channels covered everybody in his video except for you. Now, my response to Eli, if he were to be listening, would be, well, yeah, of course. TFE is for globers. It's for their cope levels to increase. We are the facilitation of that cope. That is to say, look how wrong flat earthers are, feel better about being a glober. That's the purpose of it. Now, obviously, there's certain flat earthers that are subject to that being used as a canvas to paint stupidity on is, as I say, first and foremost for globe cope, but very irritating to them, just not us. It's just the dust settled quicker than I expected. So, you know, Flat Earth Banjo, for example, went hard and fast for the whole solid last month on TFE, and he did a video yesterday that was completely unrelated, which is good to see. And other than the globers who have now, like I say, seen what all the responses have been and then put their ha-ha, flat earthers can't cope with the 24-hour sun videos out after the fact. But I think that's pretty much it. Nobody from mainstream's really gone anything whole hog or hard with it since it came out, unless anybody can correct me on that. The only one I covered was Cox on the BBC, and I believe the New York Times had a pseudoscience pundit, commenter, whatever, talking about it in there. That was about it.
Just that Brian Cox video you covered a few weeks ago, I don't know if you... I think that was AI, man. I don't think that was Brian Cox.
No, it was me doing the AI reading of an article that was published. So I've just done it when I was out and about. So I didn't have my studio set up to do the voiceover and read it myself. So I just got AI to read it. But it's just an article that's being read out about Cox.
Oh, okay.
See,
Okay.
Nathan, here's the thing. Jaren's doing a great job. They don't have to do anything. They're going to wait a little while because they got Jaren out there talking about the globe and how it can only be a globe, and everybody else that don't see, because the sun is 24 hours, that flat earth is impossible, then they're just stupid and they're not truthers. So they got Jaren out there doing the job, and you're going to hear about it in the media soon.
That's kind of fair enough. I mean, like I say, Jaren being out there saying, oh, right, I'm not a flat earther anymore, is enough for globers to go, oh, look, you see, even the flat earthers themselves, the biggest one of all, is jumping ship. So I don't even need to give this any consideration. Even the flat earthers themselves know that there can't be a flat earth. You're like, okay, well, like I say, that's been positioned for one group of individuals, and it's not us. It's not for us. TFE was never for us, was it?
No, but what they're doing is they're gonna make they're already done it, but now they're gonna really have the what's that? The proof that this is a cult. Now this has been proven. It's out there. The biggest flat earther has come to his senses. Now everybody that's just hanging on is just in a cult, and that's what they want to portray us as.
You say that, and obviously there's got to be an impression created amongst the general populace that flat Earth is on the decline, big flat earthers are jumping ship for, as I keep saying, globe cope. But in reality, I don't think that's the case. In terms of, as much as it does frustrate me, because I just spin past them now, the amount of doom scrolling I do past flat earthers with crappy old 2015 arguments. I came to flat Earth because of the firmament and the ice wall, or I came to flat Earth because they can't measure curvature, or I came to flat Earth because look how much fakery there is at NASA. All these kind of bullshit conspiratard paths to flat Earth that you hear people on TikTok and, like I say, in the YouTube shorts babbling about. It's irritating to me. But what it does tell me is that there's more and more of them, right? I say them, I should say us. It just kind of leaves me feeling a bit icky if I say us. But there's more and more of us if you want to perceive the need to stem the flow of more and more flat earthers coming to the subject. Now, like I say, it's icky because they're believers. Go ahead, whoever's opened their mic. Ranger, was it? Chocolate, go ahead.
Yeah, that's me. Can you hear me?
Just about.
Can you hear me okay? I was just going to say, it seems like we really have gone full circle with science, because funny enough, Sleeping Warrior posted a video, I think it was by Conspiracy Cats, and the title of the video, let me go see it, so I could. The title of the video is Flat Earthers Finally Gave Up on Science Completely. This is by Conspiracy Cats, and the thumbnail is pointing at Jaren, saying this flat earther saw 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and the flat Earth community didn't care. He's trying to equivocate that for science, and that's where he's going with it. Isn't that funny?
Well, Katz is a science teacher, and he sat through us being schooled by Quantum Eraser on the scientific method. What it's for, how it's used. He left as a result of natural law, but he's a science teacher. So for him to seek cope through the masses telling him, yeah, that's Conspiracy Cats seeking cope. Like I say, he's their target audience. Again, it doesn't surprise me, the fact that he's willing to decry his own knowledge and understanding of science just for cope. Because he ain't going to be talking about us, is he? Same with, like I say, Professor Dave explains, according to Eli, like he's not covering us, Chocolate. Why not? Because it's very difficult to strawman us. Shout out to Quantum Eraser, right? When TFE just happened and the comments were flowing in, asking where the guns were and things like that, right? He pointed out it's very difficult to strawman us collectively because of housekeeping. Shout out to Anthony Riley. It's the reason this is in the prevalence of my mind, if you mentioned him. He was the one that came up with the suggestion in the first place. Very, very, very critical to now when it comes to things like TFE. You've been saying for 8 years that there'll be guns stopping people getting to Antarctica. No, we haven't. We've been asking housekeeping questions consistently day in, day out. So, if you want to say these are the talking points that you've been telling people, and look how wrong we proved you, no, that's a comment you dug up from some random video I'd left a comment on 8 years ago. What we actually talk about day in, day out is any scientific evidence of gravity, any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics. So, as I keep pointing out with Duffy, what was the first thing that we asked Duffy, me personally, asked Duffy for when he left a comment on my video? What's your hypothesis, Duffy? So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Katz is prepared to decry the methodology that would offer any empiricism in favour of saying, Jaren saw a 24-hour sun and the flat earthers want to ignore it. Well, we don't want to ignore it. Okay, Katz. Yeah, 24-hour sun, cool. And... what's that? We are ignoring it? Definitely not. More than happy to stand shoulder to shoulder with you, watching YouTube videos of that sun twirling round. No worries. And... you gonna tell me what that means? Off you go. Ahead.
It's funny though that this comes from the same side that originally came out at the gate with science proves every claim that we make, right? Until we asked them to provide that science. All of a sudden, science proves things more. Now we've come full circle to now science proves that we live on the ball because of this so-called experiment.
Yeah, and for the next...
look how the circle is.
Well, that's for the fifth wave globe believers that are falling down the hill of flat earthism. They need this cope. The new flatties are the ones getting poked fun at. The old flatties that were seemingly in charge, like Jaren, are taking the fall. They're all falling on their swords, right? While the people around people like Jaren prop up the conspiratard nature or prop up Jaren's conclusions about, well, it's all real and none of your conspiratardy idiots that are saying it's all fake could possibly be taken seriously, you know, decrying their own, leaning into the narrative that's being painted with science and affirming the consequent fallacies. Now, what does that mean long term for the people that have sought cope from this? We're still here, saying the same thing we've always said. It makes absolutely no difference. That's why Toon was screaming my name into the snow. He wants this to mean I have to disappear. And it means nothing to us. Absolutely nothing. So when they see us still saying the same things every day, well, where's your scientific evidence? You think that was an experiment? I asked Duffy for a hypothesis, and he confirmed his own fraud and said, oh, well, you can call it an expedition if you want. Yeah, you're a fraud. It's not science. The expedition achieved nothing unless you want to make a conclusion, and we'll pull apart the fallacious reasoning that you've employed to assert antipodal positioning with it. Oh, if I assume I'm on the bottom of a ball when I watch this sun go round and round. No. We won't be assuming that we've travelled down when we can prove that we travelled out with respect to two-dimensional directionality, south in this instance. And we can show that the plane that you travelled on travelled with respect to a plane, with pitch data. Or that the maps that you used to negotiate your way around the territory were made with flat Earth elevation angles to stars. Everything that you utilised and every tool that got you there used a flat Earth. And when you got there, you started measuring that sun, didn't you? You measured it with respect to a flat plane. What do I give a crap about you assuming that you're on the bottom of a ball beyond your fallacious reasoning and lies about it being science if you're a science teacher named Conspiracy Cats? Have you toddled back for some cope? Yeah, we're still here, Cats, aren't we? Pointing out how fallacious it is, pointing out our lack of science. That's what we'll still be doing. Who's keep coming off mute? Go on, whoever it is.
I'm sorry, man.
Well, you've got your horrendous mic, so every time you open your mic, it's not that you're interrupting, but you are. It's like as soon as you open your mic, you're going, yeah, because you're just causing audio chaos with noise. So it might as well be you just talking straight through the top of me, like now.
Really? That's what
yeah.
the mic sounds like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds horrible. I got to admit that.
As soon as you open your mic, you might as well be talking because you're just causing chaos. Anyway. Go on, Chocolate. What did you want to add? Because you obviously wanted to add something. Don't stand on ceremony.
I was going to say all that is wrong. There are no guns, so shut your channel. Shut your.
That's what I was going to add too, and that's you're right, Nathan, because that's all I want. Shut your channel. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And when that fails, call me a child abuser. That's what they've got. Yeah, we're still here. We're still telling you that you haven't got any science and that Duffy's a fraud and what we can call it an expedition. No, we'll call you a fraud. That's what we'll call you. When we're talking about the topic, as opposed to you, the man, in terms of your past endeavours and your past frauds. No, we won't do that. I mean, it's a low blow. This topic and its abuse of the scientific vernacular in the form of experiment is fraud. Well, you can
I'll
call it
tell
so.
you what.
Again, Neil.
I'll
No,
tell
go
you
ahead.
what. It's having a. What they're doing is they're letting us know how important this channel is. This FED is. This has to be shut down. You are a child abuser. People have to see this because this channel is the only one that we got to worry about.
Well, hopefully people have realised that in the small amount of time between TFE bringing a few extra people by our way. And now, if you're a new user of this particular facility, then share it with other people. Not going to be long before the book comes out. I am so freaking excited.
Yep. Can't wait. And when I say you, I mean QE. That's obvious. That's lumped right in. Without QE, we're not even here. The way we are.
Speaking of which, he's dragged out the publication of this book by almost an entire year, wanting to make sure it's absolutely right. And, you know, that's his privilege, as is his right. Now, don't get me wrong, it's been a bit of a pain in the arse being quite poor. But the purpose of writing in the first place was to generate an extra revenue stream. However, it's gone from, oh, well, that'll generate me a revenue stream till the people around me get bored of it, and then it'll be forgotten about. Now, since QE's put his 2 pennyworth in, and Adam's put endless hours of work in actually doing the editing of it, it's become a book that will last forever. I can put my hand on heart and say, that book will outlast me. People will be, a bit like Rowbotham's book, people will be thumbing through the pages of how to undo globetard arguments long after I'm dead in that book. So
this is going to be the book, not just a book, the book.
Right. And we were going through, so one of the chapters, the reason I keep blaming the most recent chapter that we have edited last time. The reason it's taken ages is because of gravity. It's taking bleeding ages. Now the reason it's taken ages is because of Coriolis effect. It's taking forever. And it has, right? It was previously the biggest chapter was gravity. Now it's the biggest chapter is Coriolis effect. My least favourite subject. Now I know exactly why. When you put pen to paper and explain the convoluted gaggle screw of nonsense that is Coriolis effect and Earth rotation and the claims that are suggestive of proof therein. Oh man, you know why? Because you're reading through it going, man, there's so much to take in. There's the original effect that's real, Coriolis effect. There's the globetard assertion of axial rotation, 15 degrees an hour, claimed to be evidenced by you being the non-inertial reference frame observing an inertial reference frame, therefore the stars that in their rhetoric are still moving, but in the solar system-based system that this claim of a rotating Earth is going to come from, they're actually stationary, and we're moving around the sun. So when you've got all of this complicated nonsense to sieve through, you end up with a basic premise that fails. Earth does not exhibit Coriolis effect. So you'd think it would be easy. Oh, you just summed it up in 2 minutes. No. Because that's just the beginning. You pointing out to somebody that there is no Earth-based Coriolis effect, nothing's drifting at 15 degrees an hour, with the exception of the stars that they want you to assume the ground you're standing on is turning without any other discernible effect, when they're claiming there is one called Coriolis effect that you can't observe. There isn't an Earth-based Coriolis effect. End of argument. That's their claim. They claim there is one, there isn't. But they then say, no, Earth and atmosphere are attached together. Globiolus effect, north-based only, slight deviation as the ground changes speed. And you in the Earth that's carrying the rotating, violating the first and second law of thermodynamics atmosphere in lockstep with the Earth without containment means that you hardly see any effect. You're like, what? You and your reference frames are ruined, Nathan. What? I haven't got any reference frames. Where the hell am I? What's going on? That's Coriolis effect. So breaking that down into a chapter is about 1/5 of the book. Anyway, shout out to JMLs24. Let's just put it up on screen, make sure everything's working. Yes, it is. The only question we should all be asking is, where is Nick now? And how do we get him back? Come on, Nick, come back. So that's for the audience's reference. That's
Nathan, but check this. Check this. Just one thing going back to Jaren. You know, like, just tell me if you follow this logic about Jaren's lack of logic. If he says he went back to the globe because he saw the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, right? Doesn't that mean that the only reason he believed the Earth is flat is because he believed that there's 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
I don't know what logic
Right?
he's employing to make his assertion. It's just the main bit that needs to be heard is I'm not a flat earther anymore. And he's got individual pieces to justify it. The bits that you pick out is up to you if you're a fan of Jaren. So for me, I'd be looking at what's usual rank and file flat earth believer looking for their cope after the fact from. And their cope's coming from models that claim that the sun's refracted across the whole map, right? So Jaren spun that into, how can you suggest that the, what's it called? The eclipse where you've got a sun above the horizon. Seleninian. How can you say that the Seleninian eclipse is impossible to explain with a globe Earth when it's only a couple of degrees below the horizon in their model, when you've got a new model that's suggesting 180 degrees refraction, as Jaren phrased it? I'm just paraphrasing his suggestion for the flat believers who have then gone on to seek cope after seeing a 24-hour sun because their azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection fails as a flat Earth model. Well, those people are being crapped all over by Jaren without him having to even relinquish flat Earth, because you can say, I'm not a flat Earther, I know Earth's measured flat, you guys don't understand really big balls, the ball model explains it best, I'm not going to be a globe head. So he's engaging in the art of doublethink, isn't he? But what you pick out of that is, oh yeah, up until now when the globe model fails, because it's not about proving Earth's flat for flat Earth believers, it's about why the globe model fails. Well, it only fails on a couple of degrees of refraction for a Seleninian, and here we are with our new flat Earth model with 180 degrees of refraction, says Jaren. Can you see how that would be very detrimental without necessarily saying I'm going to become a globe believer? Who's opening a can of pop? Keith Blackstone, whatever you're called. Keith, any particular reason you opened your mic and they made a load of noise in the middle of my statement?
Nathan, I think he just joined with open mic and he went right on mute.
No worries, my bad. Anyway, so that's it. So it's very detrimental to those that are like, no, it doesn't matter that the model fails. Look, there's a new model. And it just bounces the sun off a dome. No worries. Yeah, makes sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense, man. That's my point. Like, in other words, if they had any factual information about the FE, they would know that 24-hour sun is irrelevant.
It's irrelevant if you've got no model assertion that you're claiming proves the shape of the Earth. You know, you just know it's measured, and that's the aspect of Earth that we deal with. In terms of how we come up with these models, it's utilising the flat measurements. So, well, what model do you ascribe to? I don't know. I'm not a cartographer. Hold on, Mush. Go ahead, Chocolate.
So that's the problem. Jumped from one model directly to another. Jumped from the magical spinning water ball, so-called model, to an AE map, which then he took as a model. Now, without actually confirming empirically that that's what it is, that's what he did. And that, by his own claims, that's what he's been teaching for 9 years. So now that he's realized that that's wrong because of his observation, he has to relinquish it. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
Why
maybe.
would you? I mean, and meanwhile, we're over here saying, well, we don't accept the map or model as our reality. That's a reification. Why are we going to do that? Right? And we get made fun of for that. But meanwhile, look at what Jaren's doing, because he did exactly that. So there you go.
Maybe that's his purpose in being here. It would seem to be the case. He's kept people on an azimuthal equidistant projection. He's got people's objections and his overcomes lined up for why that map as a failure would entail a relinquishment of flat Earth. as a belief, because it's always been the case that Globebusters, Jaren, those lot have gathered people up into a new replacement belief and given them new stuff to believe in replacement of stuff like gravity with ether and downward biases, incoherent acceleration. All of this stuff is packaged up as a replacement, ready to be destroyed. And we've been pointing it out forever, right? So when you say, oh, well, Neil says that the pointing fingers at the cult, well, that's how Flat Earth's been packaged up. Maybe intentionally so it can be destroyed, burnt, and have lots of people cast out to the wind without having come across us and our good arguments. Nay, statements of absolute fact when it comes to Earth being measured flat. Rose?
What's up?
Guy, don't normally get you on a live show.
Took off today and with the children.
Phone the police.
Excuse me?
You run off with the kids? Is it really that bad?
No.
He said I took off today. And by the way, before you even get started, D Rose, I'm kind of getting annoyed how QE's treating you. We're gonna have a word with him.
How's he
Huey
treating
can
him?
eat. Huey can eat earthworm doo-doo. I don't know.
As soon as D comes, I mean, he's got a new job, so he can't be in as much as he would like to be in. And when he does come in, QE gives him a hard time immediately. But it's good that you're a good sport.
Thank you. He put me on unlimited mute on his show, and I just said, I just went and watched football games.
What's happening, D, is because you're obviously up to other stuff. You're not 100% up to date with the Flat Earth debate. You're at like 90%. That's not enough. QE's irritated with you because of it.
No, I mean, pretty much everything's been redundant, just kind of reiterated in different ways, but it's the same battle with the Feast of Nonsense, anti-flat earthers, pseudo-flat earthers, and the globers. I mean, I'm pretty much caught up to date. I mean, I just made that comment about that celestial sky. Not that I believed in it, but I'm glad the way QE came in on it, just to shut it down. That's what I wanted him to do. Because I was like, I'm tired of hearing about that. I mean, you can't help hearing it from Wikipedia and Google, but I'm tired of hearing it, going around through the I ain't gonna say community, but through these platforms. Just tired of hearing about it. That's giving them an excuse for that celestial, whatever, that sphericity geometry. That's what it is. I can't stand that because that's what they use, that celestial bull crap about the sky being a dome or whatever. Then you got the piece of nonsense, people talking about the dome, whether it's, no offense, Neil, whether it's a dome or whether it's concave or all of that stuff. I mean, it's all convoluted, put together, and it's kind of like it's just feeding the piece of nonsense and keeping that fuse burning. So
No, fair enough. If it annoys you, it annoys you. Yeah, it seems like there's been little response. I did see Planet Peterson had done a response to me. I didn't get an opportunity to watch it. I was too busy. Did anybody happen to watch that? Because that was directly addressed to me.
No. But can I say something? Y'all know, not that y'all care, but y'all know Brother Sanchez not only did an interview of Jarenism, and they talked, and it was about pretty much he was being like a liaison mediator to try to bring the peace within flat Earth proponents. But the way he did it was like his basic term was, at the end of the day, we all come down to one sole understanding and knowledge, that the Earth is flat. All in it, but he also said they're different. He agrees, Brother Sanchez, that is, he agrees that there are different levels of misunderstandings and beliefs which have to be aired out. And I didn't really watch the video, but from what I understand, he's trying to bring everybody together because he doesn't like the division. But then yesterday, I think there was a battle, it was a debate between Brother Sanchez and FTFE. So I didn't watch that, but I don't know. I'm not sure if y'all aware of that, but
Yeah,
I don't know what
I'm aware in as much as I've seen the thumbnails for it. For both. Yeah, I was aware Jaren had spoken to Bro Sanchez a couple of days ago, and indeed FTFE the same. Just based on thumbnails.
You see that thumbnail? Sorry, you see that thumbnail you got up there right there? Right now? Or it just went away? It looks like an iron, like an iron burn.
Yeah, you're talking about the cutaway from the equatorial plane.
Yeah. That was the part I was talking about before. Yeah, this one right here. This is where they have that whole argument of the sphericity angles and the way you can measure on a sphere with angles. And it's just like, man, I just wish somebody could really just shut it down. If we could just concentrate on that. Because that's the only thing that's, to me, that's the only thing that's still kind of keeping breath in their lungs.
Well, because they don't fully appreciate how the conversion from flat plane elevation angle measurements to the stars has resulted in a celestial sphere, which is actually made up of two separate models, north and south, sandwiched antipodally. That is to say, north and south equatorial planes with celestial sphere being the end result of those two sandwich antipodal systems. And then with that system, taking Haverside to project a redundant map of the world in spherical format around an equatorial plane, so that the points that you actually measure through the globe to the sphere can be at least represented positionally as a map of the world that can then be projected onto tubes to cut out and roll out flat in the form of the Mercator projection. Knowing that is fairly difficult to summarize, if I'm honest. I can do it. Most people probably couldn't. D.
But that was good. That was perfect.
Yeah, but that's where, when I say Earth is measured flat, there's substance to what I say. And in discussion forums recently, I've been challenging our opponents to offer a globe measurement, and I've said, I'll show you where the Earth is measured flat in your globe measurement. That's a fairly tall order if you don't know what you're doing. For me, it's a doddle. Wait for them to point out a flat Earth measurement and just say, there you go, there's your flat Earth measurement. It's easy.
Let me read some of this nonsense for you. Listen to what one commenter says. It must be refreshing not to have to twist your brain to find explanations, keyword for everything anymore. Here we go. You ready? Moon phases. Round Earth explains it. Nice. Sunsets. Round Earth explains it. Nice. Counter rotating. Stars in north and south. Round Earth explains it. Nice. Polar star not visible in the south. Round Earth explains it. Nice. Coriolis force. Round Earth explains it. Nice. Midnight sun. Round Earth explains it. Nice. Eclipses. Round Earth explains it. Nice. Tides. Round Earth explains it. Time zones. Round Earth explains it. Flight routes. Round Earth explains it. Ship sailing times. Round Earth explains it. Bob's 15 degrees. Round Earth explains it. Ships disappearing bottom up. Round Earth explains it. Sun never changes angular size. Round Earth explains it. 24-hour moon on the poles. Round Earth explains it. I got two more. Circumnavigation of the Earth. Round Earth explains it. Leap year. Round Earth explains it. Seasons. Round Earth explains it. Nice.
Yeah, round and flat. For all of those to be correct, you'd have to be round and flat as opposed to spherical. So to create a round Earth, you need an equatorial plane, a celestial hemispherical view, North Pole centric, and a hemispherical view, South Pole centric, to be sandwiched antipodal into a sphere view, to project out a globe, to put in motion around the sun in the heliocentric model. Now, through our history as people, that is where we have got to as far as astronomy is concerned. So it's not like we would say, okay, we've got something better. No, we haven't. I'm not suggesting that we can better explain the stars when the model that's being used in mathematical terms to better predict where they'll be or how they will be is something entirely different. But where they will be is explained in a mathematical model that's been derived from data acquired from a flat plane. If you take things like equatorial minimums to create sphericities, to give you radial values to put in orbital motion, all of those things necessitate the ground be measured flat to create them in maths. Now, the violation of the measurement is necessitated for this out-of-the-box thinking by Kepler, Copernicus, and Huygens. Those are the three main players in putting us into a quote-unquote round Earth, actually spherical Earth moving around the sun, in the mathematics of Copernicus, Huygens, and Kepler. Now, that mathematics might be able to give you a time with a number and a day in a word next to it for where a location of a star will be above the ground at a given time in an almanac. That's what it'll do. It does not give you the capability of also violating the same ground-based measurement in the creation of a sphere Earth in the ground that you're actually standing on. You can't physically bend the ground that you measured flat to create a sphere model. Now, you can in maths. You can take the minimum elevation angle to Polaris, back engineerable into all of these maths when you measure the angles to any star in the almanac for the model of a sphere. And you can suggest that that radial value isn't circular anymore, it's spherical, so that you can put the entire body of the surface of the ground you measured flat in motion around the sun as done in the Copernican model. But that idea is very out of the box to try and attempt to explain what could only have been created by the hand of God himself. Now, we mere mortals could spend till the end of eternity attempting to reasonably explain how this stuff works. And our best attempt violated the very measurement we took to create it. That's our best guess. That's our best effort. And now the people who have reified this through education mostly, brainwashing if you will, take that and say, that's how the world is because it's the best we've got of explaining it. Me, I say, the best we have to explain how the world appears to us violates the base principle we used to measure it in the first place. That's pathetic. As people, we could do better. But the sad individuals that have gone, oh, well, that's good enough. It's been reified and taught to us as kids now. Well, I mean, I don't really want to change. Change is terrible. It's awkward and, requires effort. Let's just stick with what we've got. Yeah, but we've got to violate the base measurement in order to believe that we're on a ball where the ground we measured flat actually bends. In the plotted system that we project through our angles of measurement to a sky that's been bent in a model, it's all ludicrous. But that is ipso facto what we've done to better predict where the stars will be. That's what the church wanted. That's why we have this system. When's Easter going to be, they asked. Well, we are actually getting it wrong each time we give out our prediction about when Easter will be. We're off. Looks very bad on the church. We need a better system for predicting it. Then you end up with Kepler, Copernicus, and Huygens through the timeline that they give us according to their own history. They're more than willing to tell you why we have a heliocentric model. It's just not capable of reification for the simple reason that the ground we measure flat has to be bent for you to reify it. Projected up from the points that we measure with angles through a globe that doesn't exist and is redundant to any practical application. And those angles that are projected through a globe to the celestial sphere, also ludicrous if you want to break down that assertion. The sky's flat. The ground's flat. We're measuring a parallel sky that doesn't alter in any way, shape or form, even if you raise in height. You try and explain that. You can't! Now, if you want proof of God, look up It's all you need. Now, if you want proof of the ground, get a tape measure out and measure it. They have, and the globe comes from those flat measurements that we as mere mortals can achieve here on the ground. I'm done.
The guy, by his comment, he seems to have missed out on something. He keeps saying, first of all, yeah, he keeps saying round. So round, don't know the difference between round and spherical. Nice. Anyway, the problem he has is that he says all these things are explained by the globe until you actually start trying to explain it, and then you got to switch it up. See, that's why we have this thing called anti-flat earthers, right? Because all of a sudden their model doesn't work, and they have to switch up story, or sometimes go literally the opposite of the claim that they're making, right? So all of a sudden, they're not really actually fighting for the very globe they believe in, fighting for something else. So, yeah, no, your whole list of, oh, this explains that. No, that's wrong, buddy. Sorry.
It's apathetic to what we already have. It's an appeal to ignorance. It's an attempt to retain the dumbing down of society. That's what anti-flat earthers represent. Rather than saying this isn't good enough, it should always be considered inadequate and require improvement. No, it's good enough. It's only off by this much. What do you mean off? You've had to bend the ground you measured flat. You're telling me it's off in the model. When you reify it into the actual ground being a sphere moving around the sun, don't be absurd. But it's good enough. No! Anti-flat earthers want it to be explained better. Yeah? Look for flaws and say, that's not good enough. Now me, the flaw that you've got to bend the ground is enough. That's enough for me to go, I don't care about the globe model anymore. It will never be correct. It can't be. Can't take calculations to be true if they violate the measurements. Shout out to refracted curvature. He's absolutely correct. The globe will never suffice. Ever.
And I think Duffy has proven that. Because again, like all the money you have, all the funding, all the resources you have, to plan this whole trip to go to this place, right? You couldn't have done that to actually find somewhere to measure the curvature of the Earth, which is the whole point of this thing in the first place. You couldn't do that. Globers are waiting forever for this guy to show up as a messiah of their globe to finally prove to the flat earthers that there's curvature, actual measured curvature, and you couldn't do it. Rest in peace, globe.
Yeah, as much as it initially is like you can see people like Flat Earth Banjo trying to undermine and justify what's happened in Antarctica, he has people around him that I've noticed that are all of a similar group of people, right? Christian Flat Earth Bible literalists. Shout out to Paula in the chat. It used to be her namesake. She used to be called Bible literalist. But there's a lot of Bible literalists that I've seen, again, doom scrolling on TikTok and shorts videos, that also, like us, seem largely unaffected. Now, in the past, I've said it's perfectly reasonable for you to take a demonstrable fact, like a measurement of Earth being flat, and then use that to say, as it also states in the Bible. But there is a lot to be said for people who have faith in the words of God. Shouldn't be decrying it in the way I phrase this, but I can't help doing it that way. Because they also seem largely unaffected by what has been presented at in TFE, because they trust their Bibles and they trust the Word of God. So while we're all, if you will, excuse the terminology, holier than now when it comes to TFE, because we are largely unaffected knowing the Earth is measured flat, the sentiment that I tried to put across earlier, look up at the sky if you want proof of God, there's people who trust in the Word of God, in the case of the Bible literalists, who have also been unaffected. They're not too concerned about Jaren's actions. There are those who have perhaps not necessarily taken the word of God as literally as others and do need to seek cope in an attempt to explain an azimuthal equidistant projection, because they might be Bible literalists but are also flat earth believers, unfortunately for them. But there is, as I say, a minority group that I've seen as a result of hanging around Banjo, basically. That I go, hang on, you do seem surprisingly calm about this, like us. You seem unaffected. And after seeing 5 or 6 or 7 examples, you go, okay, what have you all got in common? You all take the word of God to be true. Didn't we cover one? Wasn't there a boxer or a MMA fighter or someone that was a bit like that? Who was that? I'm sure it was early on. Bryce or something? Somebody jogged my memory. I'm sure there was a Christian.
But I think Mush knows who it is. Didn't he recommend it?
He was the first one that piqued my interest. I'm like, you're reacting to this in a way that tells me you're almost unbothered by it. You've got your explanations, which I don't agree with. I remember that bit. But I remember thinking you're kind of unfazed just for not the reasons I want you to be unfazed. And it didn't make any sense to me till now. So I'm sure there's more than just us and Bible literalists. Go ahead, whoever that was.
It was Bryce Mitchell.
Right. There's people who seem unaffected by this, and it's not for the reasons that we're unaffected. And that's interesting. And it's nice when you sit on the sidelines, because previously I'm like, we'll look in on the dust cloud, right, holding a cocktail and laughing. Well, what I was only focused on, what's going on in the dust cloud. You want, it's like a moth to a flame, right, is how I was describing it. You want to get in and get involved and be that conspiratard that we all are. But after a while, you actually looked off in the periphery, and you go, hang on, there's other people looking in on this dust cloud, isn't there? That's interesting. Who are you? Or not.
Yeah,
Nobody's going to affirm this. Fine.
No, yeah, I agree. Banjo's been doing this thing, and he's been breaking down everything else, the technical stuff and the videography, everything. I mean, he's coming up. Him and whole lot of other believers, that have faith, but they interject that at the ending, but they also are dissecting a lot of the flaws and everything like that. But I always comment on there about the antecedent to their globe calculation, to their globe belief is measuring a terrestrial plane, a flat Earth. At the end of the day, I always put that on all of his comments. He does a thumbs up on it. He knows this, but he's also trying to let the world know how deceptive that the TFE crew was and how they thought that they can fool everyone and how they're so funded and financed and how it's a spiritual war and how it's the enemy is relentless. I remember I said that before. The enemy will find every single tactic to try to keep the fuel burning on this low belief relentlessly. And it proves today.
I disagree with you for so many reasons. I think it's just us, lazy people who just don't want to advance our understanding because we'd rather already have the explanation so we can get on with other things, paying our mortgages, worrying about our selfish selves. Yeah? And as a result, not only are we not trying to look into it, like the originators who, as much as we decry them, were the church, right? They just want to worship in a more efficient way by knowing when Easter's going to be when they come up with this model reified by us through laziness. So while it might be the case that you think there's a greater power at work, I don't think that. I just think it's men. When you get to the top of any chain and you're like, wow, let's meet the Wizard of Oz. And it's just some guy, isn't it, behind a curtain, some dothery old dude who doesn't know what the bloody hell he's doing. And it's all very kind of embarrassing. You're like, really? So you're the one actually running this crapshoot? Oh, God. Oh, dear. So instead of going, well, rather than encouraging people to figure out what is above us, maybe there is something to us taking the mickey out of Jaren and Whitsit and whatever the chick's name was, because they were talking about the creator, and maybe it was off a script, maybe it wasn't. But there is more to that than perhaps meets the eye when we're failing miserably to explain things. The lazy amongst us want to retain a crappy explanation for our own grandiose endeavours and feeling like we've got it all figured out and you stupid flat earthers are the only things that are getting in our way. No, we've got nothing to do with your cope. Like I pointed out with TFE, that's no different in the whole, is it? We're just there for their cope, to make us not either lead people to investigate how the world does actually work, or recognize there's a creator and get on with their lives for a different reason. Shout out to Vidali, says, weekly check-in, just saying thanks again. Had some guy trying to argue with me saying density controls gravity. Smiling, laughing face. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, we're lazy. No one wants to give any credit to God. And when it comes to us already having an explanation, therefore not having to look into it any further ourselves, it's just, yeah, that's people. People are crap, aren't they? We're all bloody lazy. And rather than actually doing something about it, we'd rather go and affirm our own bias and then point for other people for not knowing. In this case, flat earthers. Or getting it wrong, moreover, because that's even more damaging. They got it wrong, so much so that their leader's leaving. Oh, bye. We really will miss Nick, won't we?
Yeah. Nick, the famous flat earther that left. I wonder if anybody joined him.
Well, Nick can't be replaced, but, you know, someone's going to have to take hold of the leadership reins. I'd say it'd be me. Nick, you won't be forgotten, but you can be replaced.
But Nathan, do we really care about their explanations? You know, like when Neil says, like, round earth explained this and that, like, round earth, number one, doesn't talk, and number two, explanations are meaningless. Right?
The explanations have come at the behest of a man that wants a calendar or a
can't
clock
demonstrate
or
and prove it to me. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm just trying to say that throughout history, the reason we've got these explanations is because a guy's come along and said, I want this clock to work or this calendar to work.
Well, that's why I emphasize the word explanations. But this guy that was commenting on Jaren, you get sick. If you go to his last video, just read the comments, you'll be sick to your stomach.
And she's got a second reference here as she's doing a mod bit in the YouTube chat. So if you go to Bible Use channel, she's done bucket loads of stuff on the back story of the heliocentric model, how it came to pass, all that kind of stuff. Or go and check out a condensed version from Johnny Cerrucci on my channel. My interview with him summed it up in a couple of, well, might have been one really long interview, I forget. But, you know, 2 or 3 hours of him just going through it in great detail. Where it all comes from, who are the main players, why are they being charged with it, who's in charge of the observatories and why, what they're using the information for, how they're gathering the information, you know. And it's politics for the most part, isn't it? You know, who's being kept happy by having their name on the calendar and figuring out a single system that matches up with these days and weeks and years and 24-hour cycles, all of which is crudely derived from the movements and averages of these lights to begin with. But we as men, we want to imagine that we have some semblance of control by tracking this information. And we've done all right. But we've reached a point where we've now in our own arrogance, where we're decrying people who just recognise that, no, okay, we might have some good mathematicians and observatories to gather this data. It doesn't mean that we can bend the ground and turn it into the sphere that the math suggests that it is to give us a better capability of predicting where these lights will be. That's a step too far. Well, you're just a clown shoes flat earther! No, well, not really. I mean, if you want to find out more, you should, but you don't. You just want to tell me I'm wrong and get on with your day for cope. That's pretty sad. We're in a sad place in history, if you ask me.
The people who perpetuated this nonsense, they sure knew what they were doing. Right? They understood human psychology. They understood humans don't like not having explanations for things. It takes a certain type of human to accept that there's something that he might not understand. And I think that was Jaren's main problem. Because to make a statement like the Earth is measured flat, but the sky can only be explained by living on a sphere, just states that you don't understand the sky. And that's okay. But thinking that you understand the sky because someone's handed you a map, I think that was the wrong way to go. And again, we got made fun of because we don't accept maps and models as our reality. When we're talking about the ground, we're talking about the actual ground, where we live and walk, work. Right?
Hang on. I promoted Bible Literalist, formerly now Bible U, right, and her exemplary historical endeavours to educate people. So what she posted in my chat, a link to her critiquing Danny Faulkner, one of her rivals. Outrageous, Paula. But go and check her out. She's put a link to her channel at the very least. Or I'm reading too much into that and she just grabbed the first link to get people to go and subscribe to her. In which case, fair play, Paula. Grab the first link. I'll just assume the best. Go and check out.
No.
Hey,
I'm in the middle of a plug. Hello, middle of a plug. So go and check out Bible U's channel. You can see her link whizzing its way by in the live stream chat right now. Lots and lots of information. Not only that, observations of the sun, sunspots, all that sort of stuff. All the stuff that they're currently making it seem like, oh, wow, this is fascinating stuff to look into. Yeah, I was getting all that information years ago from Paula, as she made much better observations with her telescope while I was having kids and getting rid of mine. So it was lovely that I'd Paula around to do those things. So check her out. Go and subscribe to her immediately. She's a wealth of information when it comes to this stuff. Bible U isn't a great title. Bible U, it misleads people to think that it's only Bible related. Now, it is because it ultimately is, but it isn't. It's so much more than just a Bible channel. So I don't know. I dislike your current name because it I don't know if it would put people off going, oh, well, I don't want to necessarily go there. It's just going to be a Bible channel. Like, just is such a condemning way of describing it if it was. But my point is that, like I say, there's lots of observational stuff. Like, you can actually see Paula's observations through telescopes that are very well done and well presented, along with all the research and historic information. So go and check her out. That's the end of my plug. You can interrupt now.
You should rename it literally Paula. Anyway, she was very annoyed because she brought a video in and he's attacked her for claiming that she was character assassinating Will Duffy, and it was uncalled for. We didn't need to do that. But then later on, you did it on freaking QE and a few of our shows. She was on it from the beginning. The man needed to be assassinated. Not really, but it needs to be brought out of what this type of man is, who he is, what we're dealing with. Now it's too late. He's damage done. Needle and the damage done. It's over.
I have no idea what you're talking about contextually. That made no sense to me at all. And I know you, so...
Okay, see, he gave us a video to review of her on a Will Duffy video. And you claimed that it was character assassination on him. But it really wasn't. She was just bringing out the truth about who this guy Will Duffy is. And then later on, you all did videos months down the road and were agreeing with Paula after you pretty much said it didn't have to go down that road of character assassinating Will Duffy. Just a little pet peeve that I've been meaning to get off.
Okay. I still don't fully follow, but fine, yes. Jolly good.
Paula's ace. That's all you got to know.
Yeah, I thought, well, if that's what you're driving at, I can wholeheartedly agree. Paula is ace, which is what I was trying to get across. Hopefully people will be subscribing to her in droves. There's 136 people watching. Please share this show if you've not done so already. Smash the share button. It's just a couple of clicks to stick your sentiment in terms of people's ability to gain knowledge on this subject with a couple of clicks. So stick it on Bebo or MySpace or whatever it is you use as a social media platform. And hopefully others will toddle along to the show and gather up some of this information also. We're almost at the end of the hour, and we haven't actually covered anybody today. Just been chit-chatting. Anybody have anything that they wanted to cover from Discord that they've encountered over the weekend that they were hoping to bring up, or anything like that? Hey, Flat Arthur, by the way. Good to see you.
I thought you'd want to cover the either the video with, I mean, like I said, whether you care whether it's worth it, but at least this, eat up time. Either with the one with Brother Sanchez interviewing Scientism, or Brother Sanchez debating whatever his name is, FTFE.
Yeah, get us a link. We'll cover it. We'll have a quick goosey. Have you got a link to it?
All right.
Pick one. We'll have a look. As I say, I haven't seen them. I've just seen thumbnails, so I was aware that they'd occurred. Bro Sanchez is somebody I'll be hitting up in the not too distant future as soon as that book comes up, because I primed him recently, meaning a year ago. So, being as it's been a year since I primed him and said I'll be having a book come out soon, hopefully he'll remember that I did that. Such a long time. Oh, can I ask my audience, how do I sound? I've just got a new audio interface. So I've given my daughter my old one. Check her out on Game and Awe if you're a fan of YouTube kids stuff. An 8-year-old playing Minecraft. But she's had my old interface, which was causing a bit of crackling. Nothing particularly major, but I've decided to replace it. It's served me well for 3 years, and now I've sidestepped to a different brand that hopefully won't distort, that's got better preamplifiers in it. So can you let me know from the chat, does it actually sound the same? Typically when you change these things, it shouldn't actually sound any different if it was working correctly. But hopefully it's not sounding bad. Nobody's made any comment about that, so hopefully not. But yeah, there has been a specific change to my chain of audio, and it'd be nice to know that that actually works functionally and everyone likes the sound of the show and it all sounds great, and I've leveled it up nicely, and hopefully it should just sound exactly as it did before. Anyway, I've got a few thumbs up and whatever perfect signs. Brilliant. Sounds clean, says Fisherman in a Box. Oh, well, thank you. Maybe I'll find out a bit more from you. It sounds like you've had some entertainment experience, Fisherman in a Box, running big events, managing people and their feelings. I was listening to one of your stories the other day. So, yeah, thank you very much. Your show's clean as well. Check out Fisherman in a Box. I've been enjoying his material recently. If we're going to shout out, he's in the chat. I think you right-click on and then go to the little 3 dots and it says go to channel. You can check out that YouTuber. He's got maybe 1,000 or more subscribers. Could do with a lot more. Produces good material. Very entertaining. Very concise. I like the fact that you got a little timer for each of the subjects that you cover. So you can tune in and, you know, in an hour you'll get several subjects covered rather than a load of waffle about nothing. So, yeah, I've been appreciating Fisherman in the Box. It's nice to shout out some friendlies in my chat. Anybody else, like I say, from Discord? I noticed that Duncan came off mute before D Rose. Did you want to add something, Duncan?
Yeah, I didn't know if you saw Professor Dave's new video.
Again, it's like all these
the
things.
final experiment.
No, so somebody did send me. Let's just bring it up. I might show my Skype. So somebody posted the thumbnail and said Professor Dave can respond to everybody but Nathan. It seems that was Eli. We discussed it right at the beginning of the show, but in terms of actually seeing the video, no, I haven't.
I would get a link, but I'm driving. So.
No worries. But no, there's loads of stuff that's come up today in the show that we've talked about, having seen thumbnails but not watched. So there's also Bro Sanchez with Fight the Flat Earth and indeed Jaren, which has just been posted to me by D Rose to add to the list. But there's all sorts of stuff. The only person that's responded to me specifically in recent times was Planet Peterson, who I thought someone would be saying, "Oh, look, Peterson's brought you up specifically," but instead it's the fact that Dave hasn't, that was alluded to me with another thumbnail and linked to someone's video that I probably won't get a chance to watch.
What did Peterson say?
I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I don't get a chance to watch these things. I just see them in my list of videos when I occasionally do go to watch something. Normally when I'm looking something up. In other words, I don't know how YouTube does it. You go to, I need to do this. I'll go and have a look how to do that. Yeah? And then you go to look something up on YouTube, and while you're typing in the search, you see Peterson responds, Nathan Oakley can't cope with Antarctica or some crap like that. You're like, well, I haven't got time to watch that now. I'm doing this. Normally something for one of my kids. So you think, oh, well, I'll make a mental note of that, and perhaps, if we get time, I'll cover it on one of the live shows, like now. So when I go, did anybody watch it? I'm actually hinting, can somebody tell me what the video is about? Because I haven't got a chance to watch it. I don't really care. But it's got my name on it, so you'd think that at some point I might get a chance to watch it, and probably not. It might just slip by with all the other dozens of videos that are coming out currently seeking cope from flatties that are seemingly wanting to desert the subject.
Hey, Nathan, there's a video with your name on it. Check in the Skype.
There's a video with my name on it.
With your name on it.
Oh, there you go. That's
By
Peterson.
Planet Peterson.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So, if you like, we'll cover this now.
Yes,
Tackle
please.
odours the easier way. Try Airwick Active Fresh Auto Spray. 24/7 odour removal.
Bloody hell. An unskippable ad that's 15 seconds long right before I want to get into covering a video. Isn't that sod's law? Thank you very much, YouTube. Hopefully it's just one-on-one.
Real quick, Nathan, before you start, if you don't mind, I noticed a common theme with all these videos is, like you were saying earlier, they're throwing well-known flat earthers under the bus, saying they switched sides. So I wonder if this might be the same.
What, in light of me moving back to the globe and all?
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe not, but we'll see. Okay, so as is always the case, share the YouTube love with Planet Peterson. Let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment. There is a link to his video whizzing its way by in my live stream chat right now. As is always the case, the hope being that he would put a link to my video should he ever cover my material. I don't know if he is in this. Let's see if he is actually covering my material. If he is, I'd hope that he's put a link to me. But in spite of whether or not he does, I'm doing that for him. So please go and leave him a polite comment. Just let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with something that doesn't talk down to him, so he wants to immediately remove it, or something that isn't sweary, so the YouTube bots immediately remove it. But just basically share the YouTube love. Give him a bit of traffic, give him a couple of comments, and hopefully he'll do the same for me if he responds to this video. So thank you first and foremost, Planet Peterson, which is the name of the channel we are covering. Nathan Oakley is not taking TFE very well, is the title of the video by Planet Peterson. So hopefully I'll buy a bit of time by doing this call to action a few times. So if you are, as I say, in my live stream chat, as I am saying this, as I am saying it live, as we speak, do actually click on the link that you can see on screen now from the YouTube live stream chat, and do go to Planet Peterson and let him know that we did cover his video with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube bots or him personally as a YouTube videographer. So just let him know I sent you, and hopefully he'll come along and do the same for me if he's to do a response to my response to him saying I can't cope with TFE, according to him. Okay, hopefully that's bought enough time for a few of you in the live stream chat to have actually followed up on that call to action and toddled along to Planet Peterson's video to leave him a comment to say at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Okay, right, any comments? Has anybody actually watched this in earnest before I do start?
No, I haven't watched it, bro, but I'll just say, when it comes to the Dunning-Kruger effect, Planet Peterson picture is next to the definition in a dictionary.
Oh, well, let's not poison the well. Bloody hell.
No, you'll see.
Well, I'm sure that might be the case, but we've covered Peterson before. But if you've just toddled along and you've never watched me before, now one of my panels just immediately poisoned the well on this guy while I'm encouraging them to go and click on
Fair
the
enough,
link.
fair enough. Come on, let's go.
Bloody hellfire. You earlier praised us for calling out our own, right? Mush, that was you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, don't
Move
poison
on.
the well. Thanks.
Es ist dem Feind gelungen, die Front in breiter Formation zu durchbrechen. Im Süden hat der Gegner Zossen genommen.
So this will immediately get my video demonetized if I allow this to play out. Okay, so it's just an edited video using someone else's material where he's added his own subtitles to it. But this gets struck immediately. So I've mirrored somebody who did exactly the same thing, and it just immediately gets copyright strike by whoever owns this footage. So I'm not playing this. Okay, well that's disappointing. Why the hell did I send my audience to you, Peterson? You've just nicked someone else's. This isn't yours. What the hell? It's not.
Also, I just want to say another global, where is Wally or someone that I don't remember, already took the same meme and did the same thing about coping and you and the others. So it is not even original.
Yeah, useless. I mean, if you've got nothing to say, put subtitles onto somebody else's video, I guess, because I'm not even going to dignify it by reading what you've typed out on someone else's footage, I'm afraid, Peterson. I'll just take that as you having nothing, because if you did, you'd be saying it. Okay, right. Well, that's a highly disappointing waste of time. Any form for any more before I do round out, unless for people who are watching on the after show to stay tuned.
So the Sanchez one, you're afraid there might be some profanity on it?
No, you got to get Fisherman on a box on here. See what he's doing. Have him come in for a little visit.
Have you been watching Fisherman in a Box, Neil?
Absolutely.
You like
We're going
him?
to use a Godfather reference and liken us to the Corleone family? Of course I love this guy.
Yeah, he knows how to appeal to you. Exactly. Make us into a Godfather reference and say and not call us shills. You know what I mean? Oh, you're our friend. You're not calling us shills. Oh, well, that's wonderful. You must be a nice person. We'll promote you. It doesn't take much.
No, he's got good material. I've been listening to him. Really good stuff.
No,
And he's in
completely
the
agree.
entertainment business, right up your alley, Nathan.
I tend to find the acid test is if I find my wife watches stuff that I'm listening to. So she'll come and sit next to me while I'm watching stuff. It's not like I stink or anything, but you know what I'm driving at, right? And start just having a little listen. She'll do it with Paula. She does it with Fisherman in a Box in this example, mainly promoting those particular ones because I've shouted them out on this show. There are others, but those two specifically, my wife sat and listened while that sort of stuff's going on. I'll be honest, she used to listen to Arwen. Quite often she'd be moaning and saying, "Shut up, Arwen." But that's just something else. So she doesn't always enjoy the things she's watching. But in the case of Paula and Fisherman in a Box, recently specifically, she's sat down next to me. Oh yeah, well, that's interesting. And we've discussed some of the things, topics, etc. So yeah, I like to recommend people when my wife sits and engages in the topic, because she very rarely does. She's completely disjointed from this subject. She doesn't care. She has no involvement in flat Earth, couldn't care less. I would go as far as to call her a glober. Anyway, 143 people watching. Please share the show. So obviously I should self-promote amongst all these shout-outs. Please share the show. Let people know how wonderful we are, as we are fantastic. Any more? I'm going to round out shortly. Okay, with that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hit Fisherman in a Box, and Bible you up as new channel subscribers, and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to my G Plus panel and Discord for making today's live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on an after show. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.